All right, everybody, welcome to Unscripted One-on-One. I have a very special guest, and we actually just put this together in about 1 minute. So my guest today is Mr. Gage Keys. Man, what an honor to have you on. So why don't you introduce yourself, man? Tell us a little bit about you, and we'll go from there.
I'm Gage Keys. I played football at the University of Minnesota. I played D-line. I'm a freshman, and I graduated from Hilliard Davidson High School this past year. So I've lived in Ohio basically my whole life, and this is my first time moving out of state and everything. So yeah.
Very cool. So all right, I don't even know where to start, man. Let's start with so I had Coach Congrove on last week, and we talked about 2018, 2019. Just real quick, man, can you just talk about that season? What a special ride that was with that team.
It was amazing. Those are some of the best times still to this day. That was probably one of the most fun teams I've played on. We just had a lot of chemistry, not only on the court, but also off the court. We were always hanging out and doing stuff. So that was one of my favorite years of high school for sure.
And I've had the benefit of this is going to make you feel, whatever. I've had the benefit of watching you grow up, man. I remember just watching you from a little guy all the way up. And it was amazing to watch you progress every year. You were the one, we talked about that on the podcast, all 10 seniors, and then two underclassmen. You were the one underclassman, ended up starting for that team and had a massive impact. I mean, massive impact. That team's not the team that they were, without the contributions that you made. So talk a little bit about when you played, you were a multi-sport athlete. You probably had opportunities to play basketball. So just talk a little bit about growing up playing two sports, and then, some of that was influenced by your dad. We'll talk about that in a second, but talk about playing multi-sports growing up. What was that like?
It was fun. You were always busy, always had something to do, something to look forward to. But for me growing up, it was always basketball. Basketball was my favorite sport. I liked it first, I guess I would say. And I dedicated most of my time to it. Actually, I never really started focusing on football until junior year, going into senior year of high school, because all the college opportunities and whatnot. But growing up, it was always basketball, AAU throughout the summer. I would train all year round with the trainer. And yeah, I just would work out. Basketball was the main thing. When I was younger, I played baseball too. And I kind of got out of that as the basketball AAU stuff took over. I started just focusing on that basketball more. I was always in football though, and I always enjoyed it. It was always fun. I always played on the team. But younger, middle school and elementary school, I was never one of the better football players. I was always pretty good at basketball, one of the better players on the team. But it wasn't until high school when I really started getting better at football, because I started focusing on it more than I would say.
So, and you were always the tall kid, right? I think most of the 2018, 2019 Hilliard Davidson basketball team were the tall kids growing up. So in a way you dominated just by being tall, right? Yeah. So at what point did you decide, and so when did you find that it went from being just a tall kid on the floor that was easy to all of a sudden the game started to get hard? And you said you work with a personal trainer. At what point did you decide, all right, I got to really commit myself to getting better and not just being tall?
It was middle school. I remember all up to 7th grade, I was taller and I could just do whatever. But then as kids started get a little bigger, and that wasn't the case. Middle school, they played defense. Coaches really teach you in AAU. Sometimes the defense suspect, especially as young kids. Not a lot of defense is being taught. So as the defense started to get better and everything, I was all right, I need to be able to handle the ball a little bit, to shoot mid range, all that. So I got with this trainer, Paul Jackson. He played at St. Charles, and he was also my AAU coach for all higher ed. So every summer, we would get in the gym every day, 2-3 hours every day, just go over every day and get better. And I think from 7th to 8th grade, I got a lot better. And then once I got to high school, I kind of realized, you can't just be you can't play at the same level you're playing now. You need to elevate your game in all areas. So that's really the times that I got focused and got a lot better.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Gage, you started varsity as a sophomore, or no, or you were at least were you varsity as a freshman?
Yeah, I was on the team. I didn't play as much as I did sophomore and junior year.
And then so that kind of leads us. Well, first of all, Gage and I talked here a minute ago, and I'm so thankful for his time. He's he's a student athlete. He doesn't have to do this for me, and he was kind enough to come on. So for anybody listening, understand that Gage is coming on, and I don't want to be the guy to put any NCAA team in a violation. So I understand there's some very fine lines that we need to walk. So I've already asked or told Gage, if there's anything he can't answer, he just says pass, because the last thing I want to do is put Minnesota in any kind of trouble. And so let's transition. You said, football wasn't your A sport. And so, well, let me ask you this before we go to that. Were you recruited for basketball at any point?
Not extensively. I mean, compared to football, it wasn't even close, honestly. And a lot of like smaller schools would hit up my parents, and but also the big football schools were hitting me up too. So like, I don't think they wanted me to like waste my opportunity that I had in football. So we didn't really like talk about a lot of those options as much, which kind of makes sense because it ended up working out perfectly. So.
And that's good. That's what you want, right? You don't want to just be somewhere just for the scholarship, as nice as they are, right? So at what point was the shift? When did the shift come that you said, you know what, I'm going football, I'm not doing basketball? When was that moment for you?
So going into junior year, well, sophomore year I had gotten recruited, but it wasn't like anything like super serious. Then I remember junior year, after the second game, it was that like September 1st date where the coaches can start texting you. And I was like with my friends after the game. It was on a Friday. We were all hanging out my basement, and then I get a text from Ohio State coaches at Minnesota, coaches at like all types of schools, and I'm just like, my phone's getting blown up, and I'm like, wow, like it just like hit me. I was like, I could really like do something with this, and like I've been putting it off because I like haven't really like always enjoyed it, but I've been putting it off. But like I was like, okay, there's some potential here. And then that junior season, like at practices after that, I feel like I started to focus more, and then I started getting better, and I started playing really well junior year. And then I got hurt in the 6th game of the season and tore my LCL and all that. And I think after that, it kind of like woke me up a little bit. It was like, okay, like I need to get back from this and focus because I have the opportunity. I don't just want to waste it.
Wow. And we failed to mention, your dad played at Wake Forest, correct?
Yeah.
Basketball, right?
Yeah.
ACC, man. Did you ever have dreams of playing basketball in the ACC?
Oh yeah. Growing up all the time, hanging around my dad and my mom, they big basketball fans, and I would always like be around them while they'd be hosting parties, watching games, March Madness, all that. Really, but like playing college basketball is really like what I would think of growing up. Like that's all I wanted to do.
And you can say it. It's okay. You wanted to go to North Carolina, right? No? Come on, I won't show it to him. I promise. I won't tell him.
I was a big Indiana basketball fan. Actually.
That's fine, because mom went to Indiana, right?
Yeah,
Didn't mom go to? Okay, I'll allow it.
I've probably been to, I don't even know how many Indiana basketball games. Like we would always watch, and with her, I would always root for them. She'd give me the shirts, sweatshirts, all that. So that was really my team growing up.
And I'll allow it. It's not in the ACC, and it's, but if you were in the ACC, come on, between me and you, if you were in the ACC, what team would you pick?
USC, the best one for real.
That's my guy. All right. I know I put you on the spot. You probably just got in trouble with Dad. You're going to get a text pretty soon. Like, what do you think? Not that he's going to see this, but all right, man. So now let's jump back. So you left early, right? You left. So talk about that. Leaving school, what, mid-senior year? What was that about?
So the coaches, so after I'd committed in the summer to Minnesota, the coaches had talked to me about like the coming early thing. And at the time I didn't really know much about it, whatever. So I talked to like a few friends from other schools that were like the grade above me who went early, and I asked like what the benefits were and everything like that. And all I heard was good things. So I had taken college classes junior year of high school and that first semester of senior year. So I was able to graduate, finished all my high school credits. So the plan was I would go in January, and then you'd get ahead academically and athletically. So I went early, came here in January, started that semester of college. And then I was like thrown right into the winter workouts. So we did winter conditioning, lifting, and all that with the team. And then we got to a little bit of spring ball before the whole pandemic happened. So I think honestly that put me ahead of a lot of people, not only on our team, but like across the country. And I think it really just like helped me because I haven't always been the like football focused kid. I haven't always done like football drills and things like that. So coming early kind of got me used to like the whole like college football full-time thing. And I think that like gave me an opportunity to actually get on the field.
Wow. And what was it like your first time on campus? Were you just, I mean, so you're only a junior in high school, is that right? Or senior?
Yeah, senior.
Senior. What's that like, man? You're a year like removed from most people when they make that. That's a shocking moment for anybody. What's that like to be a year earlier? I mean, were you just blown away?
It was crazy. Like being 17 and being in college, I was like, wow, like all the classes, everything, like even like when I would tell like professors and things, like they would ask, at the beginning, they ask all about like the students, and I would tell them that I came early, I was 17, all that, and they'd be like just blown away. Like we've never really seen somebody this young come into like any of our classes before. So it was definitely a transition because everyone knows senior year of high school always isn't like the most academically focused year. Like you're kind of worn out from all those years, and then going right into freshman year of college where you really need to grind. It's a big transition.
Yeah. And what so let's talk physically. I mean, you probably think in high school, you probably think, wow, this is the hardest work I've ever done. I got to imagine stepping into a Big Ten school, man. What's that like?
It's different because like in high school, yeah, as you said, like the Davidson program is very tough and gritty and all that. So they're going to get the most out of you. So at those workouts, especially like with Coach White and all that, I'd be tired, man. I'm like, oh, these are the hardest workouts ever. And I come here and like, it's not like, so a lot of the Davidson stuff is how long it is as well as like how hard it is. We'd have long practices here. Practice will be like 2 hours or like workout will be like 2 hours, but it's like the hardest 2 hours that you've ever done. Like it's nonstop, fast, everything. And you have to keep up with the tempo. Like if you don't keep up, you're going to get lost. So
Wow.
it's a big difference.
And how are you doing with balancing? Like, because I can't imagine that you got a lot of juice left to go to class. So are workouts in the morning, in the afternoon, and how are you balancing all that? I mean, again, you're a year before you should have been there. So how did that go with balancing that as just as a student athlete? Were you ready for that?
I think that with a lot of like what my parents have taught me growing up and things like that and going to Davidson and all of that, they've taught me a lot of good time management skills. I know before we left, they had talked about like staying on top of everything and all that. So I was really like focused on that when I first got here. And so in the springtime and in the winter, the workouts were after class. So you would go to class in the morning and then like you'd have practice later. So I think that made it kind of easy first getting there because I'd go to class. It wouldn't be too much stress on me. And then I'd get to the workout and like get ready for that and just shift into the football gear of things. But then now, like in the summer, in the summer we didn't have classes, but right now we have like practices in the mornings and then classes afterwards. So I think that's a little bit different for me at least.
You're tucking in about 9 o'clock, aren't you?
Yeah.
No, you're not. Come on. Come on, Gage. You're not talking. You're in college. No, I got to imagine that man, there's probably not much left in the tank after a day of workouts and then class and everything else and then studying. I can't imagine there's much left.
Nah, you'll find yourself very exhausted. You'll be laying in bed like, damn, I got to get up in like 7 hours. Like I better go to bed.
So what's the housing situation like? Are you rooming with other football guys or are you yeah?
Yep. So we're in a 4x4 apartment right now. So it's like 4 of us, 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and I'm with all other freshmen too. And so yeah, it's been good though. It's really nice around here.
That's awesome. And now you had a lot of D1 offers, if I remember right. What, and if again, this might be one of those past questions, but what was it that said I'm going to Minnesota? Like, was there a moment or what was it?
There was a moment. So in the summer, so there's like official visits the year before you or whenever before you commit. And a lot of the official visits, like the goal is like, it's like you get the experience of going to the school. So like they'll take you through like a normal visit where you do like visit academics, visit the facilities, do all of that. But then the official visit, like they pay for everything. So like they put you in a nice hotel, feed you all this nice food and stuff, take you to places around campus. And then you get to like spend like the nighttime, like after they're done with you, you go with like a host who's on the team and they'll like take you to do whatever and like show you around campus and just like get the feel of like what it's like to go there. And so in the summer before I committed, I went on 3 of them. So I went to Cincinnati first, Indiana, and then Minnesota. And I was going to like, my original plan was I'm going to commit after senior year because like I'd been injured most of my high school career for football. So I was like, I'm going to like put some good tape out and then I can see like I could go to wherever basically. At that point, I believed in myself. I could go anywhere. So I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm going to do it after senior year. And I'm going to like, I'll take these visits now. I'm going to do some later. But then I got to the Minnesota official visit and just like seeing everything again. I'd been there once before, but I like seeing everything again. I was like, okay, I really like it. And then just talking to Coach Fleck, we were in a meeting with him actually, and he was just talking about the culture and like why it's a life program. It's not a football program. Like they're really aiming to make us better young men above all. Like the football stuff comes with it, and obviously the winning comes with it, and the football, all that comes with it. But really it's about like becoming the best person you can be. And so like all of that, and then just his whole presentation, I was like, there's nowhere else I need to be, at least like personally for myself, there's nowhere else I need to be like. And so I sat down with him and I talked to him. And then the night after that like meeting or whatever, and after I talked to him that night, I was just sitting in my hotel room. I was like, I went into my dad's room. I remember I was like, yeah, I'm going to commit here. Like, and me and my mom talked about it earlier. So we all talked about it, and I was like, all right, I'm going to call him. So then I called him real late and just told him that I was committing, and then he was really happy about that, and it's been great ever since.
Yeah, he's a heck of a coach, man. I mean, you know, the Big Ten is no joke. You know, obviously there's Ohio State. There's the big dogs. It's almost like the ACC where you got Duke and Carolina and then the rest, you know. And I've always wondered what it was like to coach when you know those 2 guys, the Ohio States and Michigan, you know, they're always going to be at the top. It's tough to take over a program, but that guy's doing stuff right. I mean, you know, I'm not a big college football guy, but I know enough to know that there's a guy that knows what he's doing. I mean, I agree with you. I think anytime I see that guy, I want to run through a brick wall for whatever it was he said. And that's just social media stuff. You know, he's doing things right. And I think Minnesota is going to be, you know, going to be special. Personally, I'd love to go see a game in the barn. The hoop area, like
when I first night that I was here, when I first got on campus, I went to a game. It is so cool there. Like the court is like elevated from where the bench. It's so nice. Like it feels like the stands are right on top of it. Like, it was so fun. They were playing Penn State. It was a good game.
yeah, you know, it's an electric atmosphere. You got the little Patino running around, the Patino Junior. So yeah, you know, man, I'm just happy. Fit is everything, and I say this consistently on every podcast that I have with anybody that has that kind of conversation. Fit's everything, and if you found the fit, then man, you're good because you found out, and we'll talk about this in one more second. So, you know, we all found out that it can be taken away in a minute. You know, like Austin lost baseball last year, gone, couldn't play. And so, you know, but he still had to go to college. You know, he still had to be in the university that he's at. So fit is everything, whether it's an injury or a pandemic or whatever it might be, man. You want to be where you want to be. And it sounds like you really found that home. And that's awesome because you see so many transfers, you know, people just follow whatever. And I love that you found a home that you sound really, really happy in. So, last thing, and this might be one of those past areas. What was it like with the pandemic? I mean, you know, we're all learning as we go. What was it like to just? I mean, what was the last few weeks like for you guys? Because it was we're on, we're off, then we're on again. You know?
Yeah, so during the summer, whenever like it happened in spring, so like the pandemic was announced, whatever, and we went into that long quarantine period, and the coaches were sending us workouts, and we were doing the workouts, you know. And then like eventually they said like, oh, like you can come back to campus. We have like all these protocols. Like we're going to start workouts because camp's coming up. And so we did that. We were all working out, masks on, all that, sanitizing every rack and everything after in between and just keeping up with all the protocols. And then we get into like fall camp basically. And then, so we're like we did a week of fall camp and then they said the season is canceled. So we're like, oh, like what do we do now? And then like the coaches did a really good job of responding fast and letting us know exactly what was going to go on. So then like a day or 2 later, we got like our new schedule and they updated everything and like followed all those Big Ten rules of like what we can and can't do. And I think it's been really good since then. And like we've done a really good job. So since like the pandemic is like a thing or whatever, and like so only a certain amount of people can practice on the field at one time. And usually our practices, like it'll be like everyone out there, but so like like the last month we've been doing, so some people are inside and some people are outside, which gets all the young guys like more reps and stuff like that. So we've gotten a lot more reps than you would get in a normal off season, which has been very helpful, at least for me, and I know for like a lot of my other freshman friends like on the team. And I know that we all really appreciate that. So I think the school has been doing a really good job of just like keeping us ready to play and everything.
Well, you got like what, 3 weeks?
Yep.
What's schedule? Do you guys play Ohio State? I didn't look at the schedule.
We don't play them in the regular season.
Okay.
We have Michigan first games.
Okay. So what do you feel? What are your chances you think you'll play?
I think there's a chance I can play. I think I've definitely worked hard, and it just all depends on like this like time leading up into like game week, just like how I practice and all of that, and like just keep grinding and everything. But I think there's a chance for sure.
What position are you going to play?
Defensive end, 5 techniques. So yeah, it'll be almost the same as high school.
Well, and shout out to our guy Bunyak, right? Because I'm pretty sure my wife and I'm old now, so I don't work out. The workout thing's hard for me, so we do the old person walk thing. And every time I walk by his house in our neighborhood, I'm pretty sure I saw your car there. So You guys were getting after it, even during the pandemic and the summer, and you guys were getting after it. I mean, as far as I know, your car was there, so I assumed you guys were getting after it. So shout out to our boy Bunyak, right?
That was probably the best thing for me. Him, like, he is one of my best friends, and he like always keeps me focused when I don't want to be. Like sometimes, like everyone has those moments where like pandemic, like working out, whatever. He kept me and my our other friend Chris Mayfield that was from Bradley going to Michigan State. Us 3, we worked out every single day of the pandemic. We did all the workouts and we kept pushing each other. And I think that's the most important thing when you have like your peers pushing, like you pushing your friends and everything, that just gets you so much better. And I think honestly, like that period of quarantine is really what like got me to where I am as far as like how I've been practicing now and like how I'm like physically able to play. Like I'm big enough and strong enough to be in the game. So I think that was a really big piece of this whole puzzle. That's, this freshman year.
Man, we're so proud of you. As a community, as Hilliard, we're proud of you. And the last question is, if you had advice for that high school freshman, that 8th grader, that 7th grader, that kid in AEU, the kid that's a sophomore, what's the best advice you have, basketball and football? What's the best advice you have where you are today? What have you learned?
I think that honestly, it just comes down to hard work and how much like what you want to get out of it. Some people play sports just to play, just to be on the team, things like that. But if you really want to set yourself apart and like be one of those key players and like maximize your potential, I think you just got to work hard every day and wake up every day knowing like I have this goal. Like you can't just, I want to have this goal when we have team practice. I'm going to have this goal when it's time for tryouts, because that's when it's too late. Like you have to put in work when nobody else is watching. That's when you really get better. The work that people see is the work that like it's expected. So like everything that you do on your own, those add up, and you won't see the add up until it happens. But when it happens, you'll be able to look back and be like, oh, this is why I'm where I'm at, because of all those long nights, those early mornings, all that.
Man, that's awesome. You're wise beyond your years, and again, we're real proud of you. And thank you for coming on and spending a little bit of time. Hopefully, I didn't do anything to get you guys in a violation. Are mom and dad gonna be able to watch any to come to any games? Have you heard?
They haven't really said much to us about like any fans or anything yet, but as soon as they like let us know if we're allowed to have family or whatever, I'll definitely be letting them know. And I know they're going to make an effort to get to any game they can if they're allowed, so that'll be exciting.
I know they're going to dial up the Big Ten Network, as am I. I guarantee you the guys from the 2018-2019 team will be doing the same, because, you guys are family. And even that extends to the parents of that team. You all are family, and I'm going to cheer you on as long as you play. I hope it's in the NFL. I hope it's NFL and NBA, man. I hope you just reach all your dreams. And you don't have any idea how much I appreciate you coming on. College guys don't need to come on this thing, but you did. And I appreciate you. I'm proud of you. I'm really, really proud of you. And I can't wait to see you just dominate the Big Ten. And do me a favor, beat that team, Ohio State.
Oh, I got you. Yep. That's a goal for sure.
Nobody heard us. It's just me and you. No, I'm just kidding, man. I'll be cheering as hard for you that day as anybody else. You know, and I appreciate you, man. If you ever need anything that I can help you with, you know how to get a hold of me. And man, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks so much, Gage.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yep. Anytime.
All right, man. Talk soon.
Yep. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
All righty.